Hello, and welcome back to the story. Today we will be making a recap on a 2004 movie titled The Girl Next Door. The story begins in a high school where the seniors are taking photos for their yearbook. Everyone is narrating the crazy things they did during high school, but a student named Matthew can't seem to find something to write because his story is just a boring and ordinary high school story. He had not experienced having a girlfriend or tried anything crazy before. All he remembers is the time when he got his scholarship from a university and how proud his parents were. The school is having an assembly at the gym. Matthew and his friends Klitz and Eli enter the gym. Matthew is the president of the student council, and he announces that they have raised the $25,000 to bring the genius student named Samnong out of Cambodia and have him study in their school at Westport. Everybody is so excited. After the announcement, Matthew and his friends look at the popular seniors and wonder how they can skip classes and go to the beach without worrying. Matthew decides to join them, saying they should try something exciting before they graduate. His friends refuse to come, so Matthew goes alone. He rides his car to go after them, but then the school security asks him to pull over. He did not listen until the security crashes. It turns out that Matthew has not moved his car and was just imagining. Later after school, Matthew arrives home, and he notices a new car outside. He enters his house and finds Mr. and Mrs. Peterson talking with his parents. He tells them that he is working on a scholarship speech so he can go to Georgetown. He says that the scholarship is for the student who best demonstrates moral fiber. That evening, Matthew practices his speech while taking the trash out. He stutters when he sees the hot girl getting out of the car. She stares at him, and he can't take his eyes off her until he hits the trash can. Matthew then calls Eli and tells him about his hot neighbor. While on the phone, he sees the girl at the window. She started taking off her clothes and Matthew just kept on staring, then hung up the phone. The girl suddenly looks behind and catches him peeping. She goes to Matthew's parents, and they call their son to come down. His mother introduces the girl named Danielle, and it turns out that she did not tell his parents about him peeping in her room. His mother says that Danielle is staying at her aunt's house while she is away. She then asks Matthew to show Danielle around. Matthew rides with Danielle in her car. She is not talking, then suddenly pulls over. Danielle confronts Matthew about his peeping, and he apologizes. To be even, she tells him to take off his clothes. When he takes off his underwear, she drives off and leaves him. A few moments later, she comes back laughing and then picks him up. They go to dinner and share their stories. Danielle says that she quit her job and wants to try college. Matthew asks her if she has a boyfriend. She smiles and answers no. When Danielle asks him about the craziest thing he has done, he tries to lie, but she finds out that he hasn't done anything. She also finds out he is single and tells him he needs someone cute that can make him laugh, and who's going to push him to do things he never thought he could do. She draws herself and tells him, someone who looks like that. They both smiled. Danielle later drives Matthew back home. When they arrive, Matthew hesitates to kiss her even though it is obvious that Danielle wants him to. The next day, Matthew tells his friends about last night. Eli calls him gay and makes fun of him because he did not take the chance to nail her. Matthew then regrets not kissing Danielle. During the class, Matthew sees Danielle outside inviting him to go out. He skips the class and hurriedly rides Danielle's car. They frequently go out and spend a lot of time together. One day, he shows Danielle a picture of Samnong and tells her how he raised funds so Samnong can go to his school. She seems to be liking how kind Matthew is. Danielle then drives Matthew to an unknown house. Danielle breaks in the house and Matthew follows. Danielle takes off her clothes and so does he. Both of them dip into the pool. She asks him what's the craziest thing he has done lately, and he answers that is. They go closer and are about to kiss when the house owner arrives. He finds out that the owner is the principal, and he becomes so worried. Danielle tells him to just go with it. They later run away, and the principal sees them. They later go to Eli's house and Matthew introduces his friends to Danielle. His friends can't stop staring at her. The group then attends a party hosted by a popular student named Derek. All the students keep looking at Danielle. Derek's friend, Hunter, greets them and introduces himself to Danielle. Derek then takes Matthew away and tells him to go away because the party is full. Matthew watches as Danielle laughs and drinks with Hunter. He can no longer take it, so he goes to Danielle and kisses her passionately. His friends watched in disbelief. The next day, Eli shows Matthew an adult film where his girlfriend Danielle is the actress. Matthew got jealous and mad as the actors touched her body. He walks out upset and Eli runs after telling him to just nail her in a motel since she is an adult film star. He then tells him that he does not want to see Danielle again. Matthew arrives home and sees Danielle and his mom looking at his baby photos. He looks at her imagining wild things she is doing like giving head to his father and making out with his mother. He snaps and goes to his room. Danielle follows him and asks him what she can do to make him feel better. He looks at his bed and imagines himself nailing her. He snaps and tells her that they are going out. Later that evening, Matthew takes Danielle to a cheap motel and brings a bottle to get her drunk. Danielle realizes that Matthew already knows that she is an adult film star. She strips and asks him if that is just what he wants. She walks out crying because Matthew judged her negatively. She says that she did not tell him the truth about her past because she loved how he looked at her. She leaves and goes home. Days go by and Matthew cannot move on. One day, he visits Danielle to apologize. He goes inside her house and sees a strange man. He goes outside and the man follows him. He tells Matthew that he likes how Matthew showed his affection to Danielle. He introduces himself as Kelly. Later that night, the three of them go to a strip club and order drinks. Matthew asks how the two of them know each other and Kelly says that he is an adult film producer. Kelly lights up a cigar and Matthew asks for one and he starts smoking for the first time. At school, the students watch a sex education video, but Matthew and his friends are not interested because they think it lame and low quality. Matthew is telling his friends about Kelly and what happened last night. After the class, Matthew sees Kelly talking with the senior girls and the three rides with Kelly. Kelly tells them about his idea of shooting an adult film at prom with the senior girls and that it would sell good. Matthew later goes to the bank and Kelly comes with him. Kelly finds out that Matthew raised $25,000 to bring Sam Nung to his school. A clerk named Jeannie speaks with them. Matthew introduces Kelly as his student advisor. Kelly compliments Jeannie and she blushes. Matthew is impressed at Kelly's talent with women. The next day, Matthew sees Danielle preparing to go to Vegas with Kelly for an adult film convention. He asks Danielle about her wanting to start over, but she sadly answers that it is what she is. That evening, Matthew meets with his friends and tells them they will go to the adult film convention in Vegas. When they arrive, Eli starts shooting video but is confronted by security saying no press is allowed. Eli reasons out that he is just a high school student and takes video for the yearbook, so the security lets him go. They then see Danielle, whose stage name is Athena, posing sexy for pictures. He goes to her apologizing and tells her that she is the best thing that happened to his life. She goes off the stage and Matthew follows her. An adult film director named Hugo calls Danielle and tells her that she should be with him and not with Kelly, but Kelly interrupts them, and Hugo leaves. Matthew then tells Kelly that Danielle really does not want to be there, but Kelly brings him to a storage room and threatens him and tells him not to mess with his business and stay away from Danielle. Matthew's friends tell him that they should go already because it is late, and he has a scholarship dinner the next evening. But Matthew does not want to give up and proceeds to find Danielle. While waiting for Matthew, Klitz and Eli sits down, and a sexy lady asks them who they are. Eli lies and says that they are directors, so the lady asks them if they can use her in their film. They tell her that they really want to use her, but then her buffed boyfriend named Mule interrupts them. They got scared, but it turns out Mule wants his girlfriend to be used in their film and tells them that she is so good. Mule asks them to at least touch her breast so they will know that she is good. The security interrupts them and tells Mule that they are just high school students. Mule got so mad, so they ran away and Mule ran after them. Matthew hands a paper to Danielle saying he knows the real her and that she is better than this, then he leaves. Danielle opens the paper, and it is the drawing of her when she first met Matthew. The next day, Matthew practices his speech for the scholarship when someone knocks on his door. He is surprised to see that it is Danielle. She gives him a ride to school. There, she thanks him for believing in her and they kiss. He then asks her to go to the prom with him and she said yes. During the class, Matthew continues practicing for his speech for the evening. Then Kelly shows up and goes inside their classroom furious. He grabs Matthew in his car and drives far away. Kelly tells Matthew that he lost 30 grand because Danielle did not show up on the set. He tells Matthew to pay him back. Matthew tries to negotiate but then Kelly beats him so hard. Kelly later feels bad, so he gives him a pill to ease the pain. He then tells him that he will leave him and Danielle alone as long as he does something for him. And that is to steal Hugo's trophy that should have belonged to him. Kelly tells Matthew how Hugo stole his ideas and made millions out of it. They arrive inside Hugo's property and Matthew is hesitant, saying he has to be back in 1 hour for the scholarship dinner. Kelly tells Matthew that after they steal the trophy, they will be cool. Matthew goes inside not knowing that Kelly has already left him alone. Kelly calls the police and reports a robbery. Matthew finds the trophy and takes it. He is shocked to see Hugo standing there. Hugo then commands his parrot to chase Matthew, but he manages to escape and sees Kelly driving away. He is able to hide from the police and call his friends. They ride him home and Matthew acts weird, touching clits seductively. Danielle runs out of Matthew's house bringing his suit. He dresses up and they are on the way for dinner. Matthew is still feeling weird, and Danielle tells him that the pill Kelly gave him was ecstasy. Matthew starts freaking out but then Danielle tells him to just go with it. They go inside the hall, and everybody stares at them. He continues to act weird, like touching everybody, kissing one of his competitors and dancing for no reason. He also laughs at his competitor's speech. It is now Matthew's turn to speak but he can't read his speech. He throws away his written notes and says that he will just go with it. He then improvises a speech saying that the real moral fiber is about finding that one thing you cared about more than anything in the world and risk all for her, putting her in front of everything, even your future. He looks at Danielle as he finishes his speech. The audience applauds and makes a standing ovation. Later, Matthew's competitor is announced as the winner and Danielle feels bad for him. The next day, Matthew goes to the bank to withdraw his account because Sam Nung is arriving by Monday. But the clerk tells him that his student advisor already took the 25 grand the day before. Matthew realizes that it was Kelly who took the money. Matthew blames her for not even asking for an ID from Kelly. He tells her to keep it a secret because he might get expelled if his school finds out. He assures her that he will find a way to get back the money. She gives him until Monday, fearing that she might get in jail because of it. Matthew goes to Danielle's house and tells her what happened. They make a plan to raise the money and Matthew goes to his friends to ask them for help. Klitz hesitates but Eli manages to convince him, and he finally agrees. The next day, Danielle calls her friends who also work in adult films. They go to Hugo's house and Matthew returns the trophy. They later shake hands and Hugo agrees to pay Matthew 25 grand by Sunday if he manages to pull off their plan. The prom day has arrived. Matthew and his friends are with a film crew who starts filming everything. They get Danielle for the prom together with her 2 adult film star friends. The group goes to the prom, and everybody stares at them. Matthew looks at Hunter and his friends and tells Eli that they are the actors. Hunter and his friends approach Matthew and Danielle. Hunter asks if he can talk with Matthew and Danielle kisses Matthew before leaving them. Hunter then asks Matthew about the girls he brought, and Matthew confirms that they are adult film stars, and he asks Hunter and his friends if they like to be in a movie. He gives them their script, but Derek accidentally drops one document which is a photo release contract. When they reach the room, Matthew tells Derek he can't join because the party is full, like what Derek told him at his party. They go into the room to start filming and Matthew goes back to Danielle, and they start dancing. The team are busy going to different locations to shoot and Derek manages to join them. The faculty head finds the photo release paper and confronts Matthew about it. Matthew acts clueless and the faculty head leaves them still suspicious. Danielle thanks Matthew for letting her have her first prom. She kisses his hand and continues dancing until one of the team interrupts them saying there is a problem. Matthew finds out that Derek can't perform. They try to find a substitute, But no one wants to do the scene, which is the key scene, so Matthew decides to do it himself. Matthew dresses up, and when they are about to start the act, the head teacher barges in yelling, "Who is in charge?" Everybody looks at Matthew, but then it turns out that Matthew is just imagining things again while dressing up. He decides to continue the film, but when he sees the lipstick that Danielle left when she kissed his hands, he changes his mind. He tells his friends he can no longer do it and will just take the consequences alone. Then Klitz volunteers to do it instead. They finish the film successfully without getting caught and celebrate with a champagne in the limo. Everyone got home and Matthew and Danielle are left in the car. When she asks him what is the craziest thing he has done lately, he kisses her, and they make love for the first time. That morning, as Matthew is going to his house, Eli calls him saying that the videotape is missing. When Matthew enters the house, he sees his parents and the principal sitting with Kelly, telling him they have an important thing to discuss. He sees that Kelly is holding the videotape. Kelly asks to talk alone with Matthew first, and when they are left alone, Kelly tells Matthew that it was his idea to have an adult film in prom and Matthew stole it. Matthew does not react, saying Hugo will deal with Kelly because he is Matthew's partner, sharing half of the profit. Kelly threatens him that if he does not give him his share, he will show the tape to his parents. Matthew does not care and tells him to show them the tape. Kelly plays the tape and Matthew's parents and the principal watch it. They find out that it is a sex educational video, and it is way much better than what is being played at school. Matthew's parents and the principal are impressed and congratulate him. The video goes viral and becomes the hottest-selling sex education video ever made across the globe. Matthew becomes very rich, and he finally meets Sam Nung. Eli becomes a professional director and speaks at conventions. Klitz covered his face during the film but gains confidence because of his huge rod. The movie ends with Matthew going to Georgetown University, which he can now afford to pay by himself. After class, he meets with Danielle, who is waiting for him outside her car. Did you like our movie recap? Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. To be updated for new movie recaps, hit the notification bell.